So, hello everybody. So, when traveling in Greece, it's impossible to avoid all the names of the gods and all that mythology. So, I took an interest in it, did a little bit of research, and I've got a story here for you, and hopefully it unravels the confusion. It is confusing. There are a lot of different gods, there are a lot of different stories, but anyway, I hope this helps. Here we go. In the very beginning, before the universe was formed, there was nothing. There was the void, and it was chaos. There was nothing there. And somehow, out of chaos, the earth emerged. Gaia. There it is. Gaia is a female. And there she was, all there by herself. So I suppose she was lonely. So she decided to give birth, without male intervention, to the sky. To Uranus. Notice how carefully I pronounce the word. There's Uranus there. And Uranus and Gaia got together. What do you do when there's just the two of you? I suppose you've got no choice. And they got together and they produced some offspring. And here is the first offspring they get, the first set of offspring called the Titans. There were 12 Titans. And a number of different names, and the names that we'll come across are Atlas, Rhea and Cronus. Cronus was the youngest. As well as the Titans, out of this union came the cyclopes. There were 3 of them, giants with a single eye in their forehead, the cyclopes. And even more giants, 300-handers. They were each had 100 hands and 50 heads, so that must have been really big to fit all of that in. Anyway, the story goes that Uranus got a little bit tired of all of these offspring around, and he banished the Cyclops and the 100-handers and put them into the void. Got rid of them that way, made his life a lot easier. Gaia wasn't impressed with that though. I don't know if she missed her children or what, but or maybe she was just fed up with having to bear all of these different things. So she decided that something had to be done, and she came up with a plan. She made a sickle out of diamantine, a magic material, and she approached each of the Titans in turn and tried to persuade them to do the deed on their father. Cronus, the youngest and fiercest of the Titans, was persuaded. So he went and hid in a crevice where this sickle was hidden, and when Gaia brought Uranus there to do some more matchmaking, he jumped out with the sickle and castrated his father. Yeah, well, that's what they say happened, so that's quite something, isn't it? And so that meant that Cronus became the king of the Titans. There's Cronus, the king of the Titans. So at this stage, Cronus's mind turned to producing offspring of his own, and he married his sister. Again, I suppose when there are just a few people around, your sister will have to do. So there is Rhea and Cronus getting married and producing offspring. They produced 6 Olympians. This group is called the Olympians. And they are Hestia, Demeter, Hades, Poseidon of the deep, Hera, and Zeus. Now, Cronus was very scared that history was going to repeat itself, and one of his offspring was going to usurp the throne and depose him. So he dealt with that threat very simply by swallowing each of the newly born babies as they appeared. Rhea, naturally, was rather unhappy about this, and by the time Zeus came along, she had a plan. And her plan was to go to Crete, and when she was pregnant, and she gave birth to Zeus in Crete. Gave him up for to be looked after by some nymphs, and then returned to Cronus with a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, and she presented this to Cronus as if it was Zeus. Cronus thought nothing of it and promptly swallowed the stone and thought he had dealt with the threat of Zeus. So, meanwhile, back in Crete, Zeus grew up as a young man, and became a young man, and decided to return to the mainland, and he entered the court of Cronus in disguise as a wine bearer to the king. Then one day he decided to bring things to a head, and he mixed mustard with the wine. And it was obviously tasted so disgusting that Cronus promptly threw up and regurgitated the stone that was supposed to be Zeus and his 5 brothers and sisters. They all came out, and miracle of miracles, they were all fully grown as well. So this created a huge rivalry, and Zeus obviously then took on his father Cronus in conjunction with his brothers and sisters. They formed an alliance. The Olympians then had a big fight with the Titans in the War of the Titans, and it was a long war and hard fought, and eventually Zeus had to find the cyclopes and the 100-handers, bring them out on his side. The cyclopes gave Zeus his thunderbolts. The 100-handers threw lots of stones at the Titans, and eventually the Olympians won. And they consigned Cronus into the void that these guys occupied. The cyclops and the 100-handers were in before. Cronus and the Titans were consigned into the void. And there was a special punishment for Atlas, who was one of the leaders of the Titans, and his penance was to hold the sky up over the earth, and he still does that to this day. So that meant that now the Cyclops and the 100-handers were busy guarding the Titans. They were out of the way, and this left Zeus with the thoughts of what does he do? How does he get going and do a bit of procreation? So he chose his sister Hera to be his first wife, and they produced offspring, just one, I think it was. But Zeus was quite a lad, and he went off and he consorted with all sorts of goddesses and mortals, and produced many offspring that way. And some of the famous offspring are Apollo, Heracles or Hercules, Athena, Pan, Helen of Troy, Perseus, and the list just goes on and on and on. So there you are, everybody. That's my take on the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed it.
So that was something a little bit different. I hope you enjoyed it. Certainly when we first encountered this Greek mythology, it was extremely confusing who was who and how anyone fitted in and who swallowed who. And so Jeremy spent some time sorting that out for us, and it really clarified things for me, and hopefully it's done that for you too. If you did enjoy what you saw, please will you comment and just let us know what you did like, what you didn't like. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Give us a thumbs up. It really does help with the algorithms. We have officially reached our 2,000th views, so that's a good progress. We're really excited about that. So your support is really appreciated. Thank you so much for that. And next, we are going to be taking you up Mount Olympus. So come and join us on our next epic adventure time.